Hey everyone, Dr. Blakeney, and I'm excited to tell you a little bit about my trip to Ellis Island. Most immigrants came from Europe between 1880 and 1924, and they came for both push and pull reasons. Push reasons are reasons they were pushed out of their country, like poverty, and pull reasons are because of issues in the United States, like working. So almost everybody arrived by a huge boat, and the third class passengers went through this process. This is Ellis Island, and this is the building that you would enter. And on the next couple slides, we'll see that most immigrants came from Northern Europe, and then others after about 1907 started coming from Eastern and Southern Europe, with some others involved as well. So once you got to Ellis Island, you drop your bags off, and then you would go through a medical inspection and a legal inspection. If you had any issues with the medical or legal, you might have to get a further exam. You might be hospitalized until you were cleared of whatever illness you had, and you might have to go to a special inquiry, kind of like a court. So you drop your bags off, get a tag, and then you would go to the Great Hall, and this is where you would have your medical exam, and you'd wait there. The whole process would take about 3 to 5 hours for most people, although about 1 out of about 2% didn't get into the United States. They were deported or sent back home. So these are people arriving. This is everything they own. They would get their 60-second medical exam, and if you had any of these marks, chalk marks on you, this was not good. I's were labeled with E if they saw something wrong. The X represented some type of mental problem, and an X with a circle was like definitely a mental problem has been identified. But these people have gone through the 3 to 5 hour process. They are now in, they are happy, and they are ready to go. So what do? Well, they might have some currency from their own country, so they would exchange that. You'd want to have at least $25 to get in the United States, maybe buy a little bit of food, and then you'd go off to this train station in New Jersey, which would take you to a relative, family member. You'd probably settle in a community that was from the same country you were in. Aid societies would help out. So, for example, these women are passing out donuts to recent immigrants. The Daughters of the American Revolution made a citizenship handbook in Russian for Russian immigrants. People from your community might offer you jobs, and then we'd move on. But not for everybody. This didn't always work out as well. If you had to stay, you'd stay in these cots. Sometimes most people just stayed for a little bit of time, but some people stayed for a considerable amount of time. These guys were all labeled with the X, so they're going to have to do a more extensive medical exam, which we'll see here in just a second. They might have to identify which of these objects is similar, visual comparison test. You also would have medical issues. So this woman is being checked for some type of medical issue. These girls had some type of disease on their scalp that they had to wait until it cleared before they could get into the United States. So you'd wait, and it oftentimes is pretty boring. But food was apparently pretty good. Here is an example of the silverware that people would use as they waited. And eventually, all but about 2% were able to make it to the United States. There was a quota process, so eventually some people from different countries where they had a quota would not be allowed in the United States, and this is the appeals room, which looks very much like a courthouse for people to get in. These guys didn't make it in, and looking at them, they don't look super happy. So after a while, the Ellis Island kind of went into disrepair, and it's been opened as a major tourist attraction, which is awesome. I hope you get to visit. You also get a chance to go to the Statue of Liberty. And you can see the fourth one down, Hugh Blakeney, age 64. I believe that's my great-great-grandfather. So you can investigate and see they have a great database of all the people that made it into Ellis Island. All these pictures were taken on my trip to the national park at Ellis Island. So please note that, and I look forward to seeing you in the classroom soon. Take care.